My dad keeps asking a question that, being cis, I don't know how to answer. Why do you identify as gender fluid? Why don't you just identify as human? I do identify as human. But, like, does your dad just identify? Why does your dad identify as a man? Why doesn't he just identify as human? Like, you wouldn't ask that question of anyone other than someone who doesn't make sense to you. But think of the absurdity of that. If someone were to ask him, dude, why you gotta be all like, oh, I'm a man? Just be a human. He'd look at them like they were nuts. And it's not any better to ask that of someone like me. But I am a human. I do identify as a human, but it's not all I am. It is not it does not even begin to explain the nuance of what I am, because everyone is a human. So that doesn't tell you anything about me. Knowing that I'm gender fluid, or knowing that someone is a man or a woman or non-binary or trans, is information about them that human doesn't tell you shit. You might as well say, why don't you just identify as a carbon-based life form? That's useless. There's no information in that. I mean, that's like saying, why do I have to use your name? Why can't I just call you, hey, you? Because it's information. It is part of who you are. It is an aspect of your identity. And if you choose to share it, that is valid. Sorry, I'm getting slightly worked up. And I don't know your dad. I don't know if he's asking that facetiously as a joke in bad faith or sincerely. But, yeah. Dad, hey. Think about the context of what you're asking, or what it is you're saying. Because if you take it outside the context you're using it, putting it in literally any other context, you would realize how absurd that is. Okay? I'm saying that as politely as I can. Because I understand that it's confusing for people. But, we're just trying to be. We're just trying to exist and to feel seen and valid. So saying, why don't you just identify as human, is also basically just saying, why can't you just go back in the closet, you queer? And that's me being slightly less polite about it, because I won't go back in the fucking closet. Nobody should have to. Anyone who is willing to be out and visible with who they are should ever be asked, veiled or deliberately. Well, always veiled. It's always veiled at this point, because it is no longer fashionable to say, well, why can't you just pretend you're not what you are? Now it's, why can't you not talk about it? It's the same sentiment either way. You want us back in the closet. You don't want to look at us. You don't want to have to think about us. You don't want to have to comprehend our existence, because in some way, us existing is uncomfortable to you. And the reason for that might vary. It could be any number of things. But most frequently, why it's uncomfortable to you is that our existence challenges your perception of the world. It's why people wanted gay people in the closet, because their understanding of the world, their understanding of the relationship between men and women, their understanding of biology or religion or natural order or whatever it was challenged by the existence of homosexual people. And the existence of gender fluid people, non-binary people, and even binary trans people is a challenge to the perception of lots of people of what gender is. And they would rather not see the thing that makes them realize they don't know everything than to actually grapple with what the existence of people like me, or anyone who isn't cisgender and heterosexual, actually means for their outlook and their perspective on the world. I almost have more respect for people who flat out say, I just don't like queer people. Because at least there's no self-delusion there. Because to the questions like, why can't you just not talk about it, or anything that amounts to that sentiment, you're asking us to give you permission to pretend we don't exist so that you can delude yourself and not deal with your own thoughts and feelings. And no, I'm not going to enable you to do that. Sort out your shit. That turned into a thing. Okay. Hope everyone's okay. Hope I didn't scare anyone off.